In the heart of every game, where battles are won and legends are made, stands a line of warriors, the offensive line. They push, they protect, and they pave the way. But behind every triumph lies the struggle to perfect their craft. Traditional training can only take you so far, leaving gaps in technique and execution. It's time for a game-changing solution. Introducing the OL Masterminds Training app, the tool that turns struggle into strength, hesitation into precision. Built by experts for offensive linemen of all levels. Personalized drills, technique tutorials, virtual coaching, all in one powerful app. Ready to transform your game? The future of offensive line training is here. Master your craft and rise to greatness. Download the OL Masterminds Training app today.
And we back with another episode. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Hit the like, hit the sub. We are here with the guru, the sensei of all offensive line. And, you know, I always look at offensive line as something that's growing in our space. Everybody knows about wide receivers. Everybody knows about running backs and quarterbacks and all that. But we need to find as much offensive line help as we can for the social media streets. So we brought the best here. Duke Manyweather. How you doing, sir?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Oh man, appreciate you. So, something that just kind of jumped off the tape for me, and when I mean the tape, I mean the internet, is you're out here trying to educate people on Dallas Cowboys left guard, all pro left guard Tyler Smith, and they want to move him to tackle. And I don't think you have a huge problem with it, but you just have a slight disagreement. Can you tell us why you just don't think it's a great idea for Tyler Smith to be the left tackle and the Cowboys should keep him at guard?
Yeah, I think this starts. I think this starts off with just the overall premise of what we're trying to achieve as offensive line units, and that's continuity. One of the key ingredients to a recipe for a successful and good offensive line is really the chemistry and the continuity of the pieces there. So, there's certain offensive lines that rotate in and out, and you'll see I'm always vocal about not being a fan of that, because of what that does to, again, the chemistry and the ability to create continuity in terms of communication, in terms of fitting certain combo blocks, in terms of being on the same level with passing off twist games and stuff like that. So that's where this is coming from further context. And then the second step into this is that the Cowboys have now lost their starting center, Tyler Biadasz, who was their starting center for 4 years, and now future Hall of Famer Tyron Smith. So, okay, you've got to replace two starters. All right, you got to replace a center. You know, there's going to be a new guy at the pivot as a starter, and you got to replace left tackle. Okay, it would be irresponsible, and it'd be difficult for an offensive line coach to essentially be able to get three guys ready at a new position. That's one of those things that's like, and here's what Twitter is going to say. Here's what the social media is going to say. That's what they get paid for. Well, guess what? Yes, but at the highest level, it's not ideal at all. Mm-hmm. So it's like when somebody gets injured, you typically want to only make one position switch if you can. You know, once you start to move several positions, it messes up the continuity of your offensive line. Now, Dallas is going to have a new O-line, period. Again, we talked about those two pieces. But when you have the strength of your offensive line, so to speak, are your two guards, one guy is going to go and put on a gold jacket automatically. You know, if his career was to be done, you know, if he played his last snap, whenever he chooses to, he's going into Canton and Zach Martin. But then you got this young, up-and-coming talent in Tyler Smith, who came in with a lot of questions and concerns in terms of the technique and could it be cleaned up his rookie season. And I think a lot of fans like to romanticize, what Tyler was at left tackle. You know, he was on trajectory to be a top 5. No, he wasn't. Okay. I work with Tyler. We talk about that every day. Again, I kind of put it out there. His strength and his superpowers at guard are his kryptonite at tackle in terms of the aggressiveness and, you know, sometimes when the hands get on the outside and all some of those things you can get away with on the inside, especially the way he likes to play the game, which is with a lot of square power. We saw this year with his jump set really developing and his up kick really developing. Some of the things he was able to do coming off on some of those B blocks and deuce blocks, getting off onto the second level, but displacing the line of scrimmage. So when you factor those things in, he was never supposed to start at left tackle his rookie year. The plan was for Tyron Smith to start and Tyler to play left guard. Tyron got hurt. Tyler bumps out. This year, a healthy Tyron Smith, relatively healthy Tyron Smith, and a young man who spent a lot of time, preparing to play left guard this summer, or last summer, I should say, and in the off season, and then really thrived at the left guard position to the point where he was named All-Pro. So when you factor in all that context, and you looked at what his trajectory truly is, I mean, you're talking about a guy that, for everything that he possesses, is like really showing flashes of like all-time great going into year 3, just because of what he's able to do at that guard position. Now you're going to disrupt that, or people want that to be disrupted to move out to tackle, and then you want a rookie guard and potentially a rookie center. That's a no for me, man.
Yeah.
And again, I get it. Fans are just that, fanatics. That's what fans are short for. So, and again, it's always going to be their team, even though, my perspective is I'm always coming from a player perspective in terms of I want what's best for a player. Yeah. Somebody made the stupid comment about tackle money versus guard money. Go look at the top 7 tackles versus the top 7 guards, and then you fucking come back to me. Because with the exception of Lermy Tunsil and Trent Williams and maybe, Andrew Thomas, sure. Those are kind of outliers in the tackle market. But, I mean, we've got 4 or 5 guards that are making $20+ million per year, And Tyler is that type of guard that can make $20+ million per year if he stays on this trajectory. What he could be at tackle, I don't know. But for me, I'm looking to, keep Tyler at guard if I'm the Cowboys. Roll with Zach Martin, of course, at guard. You have maybe the best guard tandem in the league. That also helps a rookie center. That also helps a rookie tackle, because you've got 2 pretty special and dynamic guys on both sides of them that can kind of be the second set of eyes, and the communication can help slow the game down for those 2. If you got 2 rookie center and a rookie guard together in terms of that communication, and just knowing that if you get a giant front, really playing against the Giants, and you got Dexter Lawrence lined up, and then you got 2 Walkers walked up, and then you got a DB, you got a safety spinning the wheels late. 2 rookies, that game might be moving very fast for them in order to be able to identify that. So, there's a lot that goes into this, and there's a lot of reasons why I'm a big proponent of Tyler staying at guard. And do I think he can slide out and play tackle and be okay? Yes. But do you want somebody that's okay, or do you want somebody, that same person that can, what you're going to get with him at guard, and that's pretty special.
So you mentioned Tyler's jump set, right? So his superpowers at guard would be a detriment at tackle. So you think that he's
not so much a detriment.
Okay.
When you get to know Tyler, his mindset is aggressive mindset at you now. I mean, there's opportunities for you to jump at tackle for sure. But that aggressiveness, a lot of times where you want to take those chances, the margin for error on the edge is a little different than it is on the inside. And another key attribute that in my opinion, both guards of the Cowboys are very special at is their ability to recover. There's not a better recoverer in the league than Zach Martin, but Tyler Smith shows some pretty special things to be able to recover when he would jump set. One of the things that I always tell my offensive linemen is that when you jump, expect an inside counter move immediately. That's kind of the defense's go-to, or they're going to fake a counter to the inside and then try to come back and pick your edge and edge you. So, with both of those guys are able to get out of that. Tackle's a little different, man. You jump, you miss. There's a whole lot of space versus an athlete that's probably running a 4.5, 4.6. You jump against Michael Parsons and you miss, like he's to the quarterback. So, just a little perspective in that regard for that, and that's kind of what I meant by his superhero powers can be his kryptonite. Not that it is a disadvantage of anything. It's just the mindset. And when Tyler Smith, when we talk about elite performance, and we talk about the guys that are really good, we talk about preferred behavior and what they do repeatedly when they're at their best. And what Tyler has done repeatedly when he's at his best is be able to get that jump set or hit, that up kick off of his vertical set. And those are things that you can do at tackle, but like there's not a lot of opportunity and room for error to do that and miss. You could take more chances on the inside doing that.
Yeah, man, I think, this conversation about Tyler at tackle, it comes from this idea of the best five, right? Get your best five. And, Tyler is a special player, so he can play left tackle and left. He's a guard, sure, but he can play left tackle and left guard. So I guess what people are saying is, hey, put him at tackle, put Bass at guard, put Hoffman at center, and that's your best five. I am such an advocate for Tyler at guard. If we don't have a tackle, I'm just like, well, cool, find a tackle. Like, just do your job, front office, and just find me a tackle. You don't want to move on from the guard. There was a lot of conversation back in the day about Zach Martin playing tackle because he played at Notre Dame, but it's going to take such an emergency for Zach Martin to play tackle. You just don't want to move the all-pro guys. Like, keep the all-pro guys where they're at. Go ahead.
Zach Martin never played tackle yet. I can tell you that.
I'll ask you why off camera. That just seemed like an Illuminati secret, but go ahead.
No, I think you guys remember when he did slide out and he ended up having a calf injury.
Sure.
On Thanksgiving a couple of years ago, and it was one of those things where he was trying to do the team thing, but that's not what's best.
Sure.
In a long term, because now you're down your starting right guard and you're down to your third tackle. So that's the thing. Yeah. Is like when you move these guys, you think you're doing the right thing of getting your five, and you're one snap away from playing, with O tackle 3 and OG 2, and God forbid there's an injury there.
Sure.
So there's a lot of dominoes that go into that can fall and be pretty crazy.
Sure. So for my audience, right, what makes a tackle a tackle? What makes a guard, and what makes a center? Because those are three different dudes, and some people think that guards are just bad tackles, and some people think centers are bad guards. I've seen players that can be tackles and guards, but they wouldn't be. Pardon me. I've seen players that can be tackles and centers, but they wouldn't necessarily be a good guard. So from your perspective, what makes a tackle, a guard, and a center a center?
Yeah, on the surface for fans, a lot of times it's the physical traits, So when you look at the tackles are typically longer, leaner, more athletic in terms of testing numbers. That 33 plus arm length, and just overall guys, specifically in pass protection, that have top end range. They can stay square. Getting 5 to 6 yards deep into their kick without opening up their hips. That typically are your athletes and your offensive line athletes that can survive and play tackle on the edge. And that goes for starting tackles, and that goes for backups. So a lot of times the backups have many of those traits, but the execution of the critical factors, which I talked about on the back half of that, which is the setting, staying square without opening the hips. The critical factors aren't always executed at a high level. For your guards are not so much a dipping athlete, but sometimes they're not as long, not as rangy. They're stronger core strength, more of the root power where he can move guys off the ball, be able to get under guys, kind of your square shoulder guy. That is, a little wider, and the thing about the guard position in this ties back into tackle is that things happen right now, especially in pass protection. So you don't have a lot of that space to be able to maneuver, be crafty, so to speak, with your hands. So your hands got to be really good. They've got to be violent in terms of significant contact at guard, where at tackle, a lot of times, a lot of these tackles don't even really strike and punch. A lot of these tackles can clamp or kind of absorb and lift guys up. There are some guards that do that, but just with the space and the range that tackles do have on the edge, that plays into what a lot of guys want to do. But at guard right now, guys are on you right now, so you have to make significant contact. You've got to either create space off the line of scrimmage or close space in that aggressive set. With tackles, you really want to get to a spot in a run game. For tackles, you typically want to have those guys that can run and cut off the backside, pretty effortlessly. And really the same thing for guard as well. You still want guys that can run a little bit, be able to cut off the backside. Center is a whole different beast, man. Center is very cerebral position. And oftentimes that, the center is really key to the offense clicking, because it's a lot of the calls that the centers are required to make in certain offenses. Just kind of the IDs and being able to fit into combo blocks and protections and all those things. So in terms of a mental aspect, you want your center to be able to identify fronts and coverages, which I mean everybody on the O-line is able to do that. If you're playing on Sundays, being able to identify a front, be able to identify a pressure look or a blitz look. But the processing of the center, getting every 5 guys on the same page is really important. So and one thing that I got from Steve Hutchinson that really stuck out to me, he goes, every center that I ever played with acted and had the confidence that they were the best player on the field, even if they weren't. But they needed that type of confidence to get guys in a position that they needed to get them in and be effective. So from the mental aspect and the character aspect, that's kind of what you want out of your center. Mm-hmm. And then, in terms of the physical aspect, you want guys to be able to hold up at the point. You want guys to be able to use the offhand, when somebody's attacking their snap hand, to be able to get on guys and really be able to make sure that they're able to stop a zero nose. You want guys that could set back and over at center in either direction, add into protection. And just overall, you want somebody at that center position and that pivot that can be a leader. So it's really weird, like being around offensive linemen. Your guards are more your salt of the earth, kind of charismatic guys. Your tackles a lot of times are kind of the quiet guys, stay to themselves. They kind of just do their own thing. And in your center, they're always talking. Like every center I ever had, they're always talking, boisterous, demonstrative. And they're just kind of like big personalities. So in terms of characteristics of personality, those are kind of the differences that I've seen between center, guard, and tackle. And then from the tactical and the mental aspect, some of those things that I highlighted are some of the characteristics that you want from a center.